authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of agreement with the John R. DeChamps Senior PBA. So moved.
Second.
Any comment or question from the audience? Yes, Mr. Princey.
Just a couple easy questions here. Some of the officers are getting a 7.5% increase. The investigators are getting a 7.5% increase.
No.
They're not getting a 4% and a 3.5%
No.
On top of that?
No.
Is that right, Mayor?
The salary schedule is being adjusted on a one-time, one-year basis with a 4% adjustment. The compensation for investigators is being changed from a flat $1,000 a year to a 3.5% of their base salary.
Well, the dispatch says 3.5%.
Well, I'm sorry, the change for investigators is a 3.5%.
Well, then that's 7.5% rate.
No, because it's minus $1,000.
Okay.
And that's in lieu of the shift differential.
Okay, well, we had a situation where we were having difficulty getting police officers to apply for the investigator position, because for some of our patrol officers to become an investigator was a reduction in their pay, particularly if they were on the shifts that had a shift differential. In addition, we were finding that investigators who were eligible to take the sergeant exam and who were offered the position of going back to patrol as a sergeant, because they would be paid more, they were leaving the investigator position. We had more turnover within the investigator positions than we think is desirable, and in addition, we were spending a lot of money training new people. So the theory here is that this will serve as an inducement for patrol officers to consider being investigators, and it would also give us more longevity in the investigator position, thereby saving money on training new people. So the proposal is a one-year increase of 4% across the salary schedule, and a change to the investigator pay. It was $1,000. The proposal is to make it 3.5%.
What's that come to?
I'm sorry.
Compared to $1,000, what does that 3.5% come to?
Well, it would vary based on where they were in the steps and longevity, but probably so. I'm sorry.
$1,200.
Well, around.
The salaries I looked at in the budget would give an additional $1,700 to $2,000.
That's in
Plus
lieu,
4% on top of that.
that's in lieu of the $1,000. So.
Yeah. The $1,000 is removed, whatever they're making, 40 grand, just use that as a baseline. We're getting 3.5% of that.
Well, they have a civil service test for investigators. Do they take that test to become, actually, investigators are patrolmen, right?
I don't think
Do you ever
there's a
take a
separate.
test for civil service?
I don't think there's a separate investigator test.
Why isn't that updated so that can happen? And then I can see where they would get maybe a second. Actually, your investigator is the same as a regular patrolman.
I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, you can make that statement. I don't agree with that. Their job role is different. Their required availability is different. They're on call when a patrol officer isn't on call.
Well, I know for years and years it was $1,000. I always thought it should be more. But the union said no, $1,000 is enough. But now I see it's changed. And it's all right if it's deserving of that, but I think they should take the exam to get good qualified, I'm not saying they're not, get good qualified investigators. You know, us people that's lived here all our lives, and I'm 82 years old, and I was active in the city for 40 years. I wonder where all this money is coming from. Now, I understand, listen to Chief Meeker on Open Line, the overtime would be much more than it is now because the salaries are going up. And it's like $135,000 if I remember. And he said, but only $36,000 that we have to pay for overtime. The other 100,000 comes from different agencies. Who are those agencies?
The city gets grant money from the state, for example, to underwrite some of that overtime.
Okay, before you give me a 15-minute speech, do you have that money?
I guess, I
Is that money aboard right now?
don't know.
You don't know. You're just planning to get that money. With the $4 million sales tax, that money been figured out, so we're going to get $4 million this year of sales tax. Or is there going to be a 10 or 15% reduction in that?
Nobody knows what's going to happen, Harvey.
Well, I think that's why you should be awful careful of what we're doing. I want everybody working, policemen, firemen, they're all doing an outstanding job. But I'll tell you, we're in tough times. Oneida's not growing. We're not getting any new manufacturers or other outfits that's paying millions of dollars in new taxes here. But I'm going to tell you this, in the next couple of years, our tax rate is going to really be blown out of proportion for what we're doing. And that's why I'm here. I know it's not going to do any good, but I just can't see everybody, millions of people are being laid off. A lot of people are taking cuts in their wages, which I don't agree they should be doing. But I think you gentlemen owe the taxpayers a little more than what we're getting, raising everybody's salary, and really not knowing where that money is coming from. That's my speech for the night.
Mr. Currency, a lot of that money is already set aside through Stop DWI and STEP grants and other grants that are to send the cops out to write extra traffic tickets, seatbelt checks, all that stuff. That's where that money comes from. It's already set aside through Madison County. The money's there, it's already set aside. We're going to get it.
Then what you're saying, those people in Idaho, we better be very careful driving around town.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
And, you know...
I knew there was a gimmick somewhere.
Well, you know...
I'm going to make sure my seatbelt is on when I get out my car to go home tonight, too.
You know, I know you listen to Open Line a lot, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to say it anyway.
You're on there, too.
There was a guy on there today, wasn't you, and he was a complete idiot. Because what he said was that Oneida police are just ordinary, it's an ordinary job. They're just ordinary people, and they have to learn to take cuts too.
Well, I don't know. I didn't hear that.
I did, and the guy's a complete idiot because they're not ordinary people, they're not ordinary jobs. They're the first people we call when we got trouble. If somebody's bashing your head in with a baseball bat, or you got a dog up in the tree, or whatever the case is, you don't call the state police, you don't call the sheriff, you can't call your mommy, you gotta call the Oneida police.
Any other comment or question about the proposed contract? I see the PBA president is here. Is there anything you'd like to add, President Little?
I would just like to say that one of the things that we've been reminded during this year with our new mayor is that there are certain things that the city is required to do and a whole lot of them that they aren't required to do. One of the things, some of the things that we're required to do is to provide safety, which is fire and police and infrastructure. And so when we spend money on fire, police, and infrastructure, that's what we're supposed to do.
If there aren't any other comments, I'm going to move the question, and I'll ask that all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That resolution is approved.